This is The Fit Mess, conversations with world-class experts in the fields of mental, physical, and emotional health. In this episode,
you need to be clear about what it is you really want to have happen, but also be open to it may come in different ways. So be clear about the essence, the feeling, the end result, and let go of the worry about how it's all going to unfold.
Now here are your hosts, Zach and Jeremy.
Money. You wish you had more of it, or you worry too much about not having enough. As you're about to learn, your relationship with money, your worries, your feelings, your fears about money may actually be preventing you from having more of it. This week we'll talk about some of the things you're doing that may be pushing money away, and some of the things you can do to bring more of it into your bank account. We'll do that with our guests. Their names are Peg Donahue and Madeline Gerwick. They are the authors of Money is an Energy Game. Manifesting money into my life has been a strange, like any part of this journey has been a strange one. And I think I've talked about this before on the show, how a few years ago, money was something I struggled with. I couldn't sleep well at night. I fretted over every bill and how am I going to cover this expense and that expense. And then was introduced to sort of a different way of thinking about money, a different way of budgeting. And that all started when I was introduced to the idea of just changing my relationship with money. And instead of worrying about it and being afraid of not having enough, really just letting go and being okay with its free flowing nature so that I could allow more in and allow more out to continue that pattern and that path of money. And it has wildly changed my relationship with it. And this interview really, I think, is going to explain how that works, how manifesting money into your life happens. Because it's not just, boy, I need 80 grand and a check shows up in the mail. At least not always. Occasionally things like that happen. Right, Zach?
Yeah, exactly. Interestingly enough, like I missed this interview. You did it by yourself, but I read about it and I was thinking about it, and we had, a couple of large expenses that came up over the last couple of months, and we do okay. Like, it wasn't a big hit to us, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? Let me just put this out there to the universe and be like, you know what? This came at me. I'd love to get this back at some point. And we went on and, surprisingly, like after we had paid everything and everything was done, we got a check in the mail that was $86 more than what we had just spent. Like, just a random check that we weren't expecting from some overpayment. Right. And it just showed up. And I looked at my wife and we're like, manifestation, universe just delivered. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Or a coincidence, but you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. When I look back at my career, I think about this sort of phenomenon, and it's happening to me again right now as I leave the job I've had for 14 years and take some big chances on growing this podcast, growing a side business that I've started. I'm reminded of the last time I took a huge leap like this was I had, a career working for a major coffee chain, and I had been there for like 5 years and I hated it. I didn't want to do it. I wanted something new. Working in radio fell in my lap, and it was this total like part-time side gig where I had a few hours here and there. And I just decided one day, like, I'm just done. I'm not doing this coffee thing anymore. I'm literally just quit that day, walked away, never looked back, went to my other job that day and said, hey, I literally just quit my job. So if you have any more shifts, anything else I can pick up, kick it my way. And within like a few days, I was basically working a full-time job in radio, which at the time was my dream. And I was like, this is great. And I built this career and it set me on to the podcasting path where I am now. And now I'm done with radio and I want podcasting to be my thing. And as I take this huge leap and walk away from this career, this side job that I have in podcasting, magically things are just happening. I've gone to them and said, hey, I'm more available, and they're giving me more jobs, more projects, and I'm picking those up. Good things are happening with the podcast. It's just another reminder that the universe is totally on your side and wants you to be successful, but you have to trust it sometimes and just take that leap into the abyss and be pretty confident that a net is just going to appear and give you a nice soft landing.
Yeah, that is a level of thinking that is so far outside of my risk level. From my logical side, but so I've just seen too many things over the last few years as I've been opening my mind to this that has my logical brain running with its tail between its legs.
Yeah. We get into this in much more detail in my interview with Madeline Gerwick and Peg Donahue. They are the authors of Money is an Energy Game. I'm going to be upfront with you here. This interview was way more about me than I meant for it to be. But I hope in my circumstance and in what I'm going through and the very personal sort of interaction I had with these two guests, I hope that you take away from it that taking a chance and being hopeful can create terrific results. So please forgive me as I indulge in a little one-on-one therapy with our guests in this conversation. So I am in the middle of moving. I'm in the middle of leaving my job and completely trusting that the universe is going to provide. I'm moving to Canada with my family. My wife and I do not have jobs. We're selling our house, and we're just taking a huge leap of faith that this is going to work out.
That's great.
Yes, but also very scary. What's weird to me is I'm becoming a big believer in sort of the law of attraction and visualizing things and having them come into your life. And I'm seeing more and more evidence with this move because as I've done it, I have a side job, that money is increasing. There's all these things that are just sort of happening because I took the steps to make a big change. So I want to know, is that sort of what you guys mean when you talk about money being energy and sort of opening up to allowing it to come to you and it finds its way there?
It is. So what is your intention with all of this? What would you like to have happen?
I would like for what we're doing right now to be my full-time job and to be able to grow this into a bigger tool to help more people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And in our book, we actually have something called the leap of faith. And and it's a section where we talk about when they had the Holy Grail movie with Harrison Ford, and he has to step off into basically the abyss. Right?
Yeah.
And then the bridge appears before him, right? When I saw that movie, I was right on the cusp of getting ready to change over to being an astrologer full time. And I dreamed that scene all night long. And then I realized I had to do the same thing. And of course, it worked out perfectly, way better than I could have imagined. Within 2 months, somebody had hired me to write a sun sign column that took me about 2 hours and replaced 50% of my income. It took me about 2 hours a day to write it and replace 50% of my income. And that happened very quickly. And then I end up writing an article for a newspaper that was an alternative newspaper. They put it on the front page, and then I had about 200 phone calls, and that was it. I was launched.
And in 21 years ago, I left a full-time job. I just left it on a whim, actually. I figured I'd take 6 months off and get another job. I had been at this company for 21 years. And it's been 21 years again. And so I actually never went into another corporate job. I went into what I'm doing now, which was Feng Shui. I went through 3 practitioner programs. I had a school for myself at 7 years where I trained practitioners. I came across Madeline and I joined up and began collaborating almost 20 years ago with our work, with our efforts there.
Yeah,
I had lots of other projects going on. Then I decided maybe about 2015, after doing lots of other things, I just want to do this work. And so that's what I've been doing. And the book itself took us 7 years to put out because we started collaborating maybe around 2001 or so. And we met in prosperity training classes. We met in classes about how to manifest because we were both going deep into study, the science, behind this. What is it all about? And then we decided to put our own programs together. So we put 3 together: 8 Keys to the Ultimate Prosperous Business, Conscious Language, and Take an Energy Inventory for Prosperity. And so we taught those for several years. And then we decided we want to take this to an even larger audience. So that's why we put it together in the book. It is a leap of faith. It's doing what you love. It's also taking inspired action along the way. So
This is always the hang up for me when we talk about manifesting. And we've talked about this with a number of guests that promote this same idea,
Yeah.
because I think too often people hear manifest and they think, a starving kid just needs to imagine, a turkey dinner on his plate and boom, it's there. Or you need 75 grand. So you just imagine that it's going to show up in your bank account and within a week, boom, it's there. There are weird anomalies that I've seen where stuff like that does happen, but I don't think
Sure.
that's what you guys are talking about,
That's
right?
not the norm. What is
No,
the
that's
norm
not the
is
norm.
you need to be clear about what it is you really want to have happen, but also be open to it may come in different ways. So be clear about
Right.
the essence, the feeling, the end result, and let go of the worry about how it's all going to unfold.
Well,
And
and
then-
taking the inspired action that you just mentioned is very important, because when you're taking motivated action, you're usually motivated by fear. So then you're pushing the money away. But when you're taking inspired action, your energy is higher and money comes to those in higher energy. So it's a lot easier to bring money to you when you're taking those inspired actions. Things just tend to unfold because you're in a high energy, you're in joy, you're feeling fulfilled about doing the work that you want to do, and you're just on a roll.
Right. So, and one of the services I do on a regular basis is Feng Shui. So, are you familiar with that? So, it's about the energy
Yes.
of your space. So, as you're moving to a new house, pay attention. A couple of areas that you want to pay attention to, or I'd recommend pay attention to the Korea area, which is the front center of your space as you divide it into a grid of 9. Sometimes it's, if you have a center entrance, front door, that would be the Korea area. Also, in every room in your house, there's a Korea area, the front center. Also pay attention to the prosperity area, which is the back left corner. So when I say pay attention, what I mean is set these up so that they're in great shape.
You don't want clutter and stuff like that hanging around.
Right. So you're starting fresh. So typically there won't be clutter there unless it takes you a long time to unpack. In the career area, I would recommend putting representation of the career that you want to further develop. And it can be anything. And it can be, pictures of nature. It can be, pictures of, podcasting or whatever it is. Sure. That you would want, in there. You could also write your intentions out. And I always recommend, put them in a red envelope, and you can stick them behind a picture, put them in a drawer, but energize them as you do. Give it more power and empower your thoughts, what it is you want. In the wealth area, put some representation of abundance, of treasures, of prosperity. And prosperity is not just about money. And we write about this in the book a lot. It's about health and abundance. It's about the blessings that come into your life. So you might be energizing those as well, that you're in a position to actually make this move.
Yeah, your friends, your family, your work, all of that being fulfilling and supportive. Yeah, all of those things supporting you. Yeah.
You mentioned wealth, so bringing this back to the idea of money, what are some of the things that people do? I know that for most people, me included until recently, my relationship with money was not good. So I was constantly worrying about not having enough. How am I going to pay the bills? And that was a cycle that perpetuated for decades. And it wasn't until I started sort of playing with this idea of manifesting that, not that I've suddenly fallen into money, but I've found tools that have changed my relationship with money. And I have not had the same, like, up all night biting my nails. How am I going to, cover that check? Like we've just kind of been okay. And now we're in this position where it's like, we can just sort of float for a year and figure out how to make this big thing move. So what are some of the things that we're doing to hold us back from allowing money to find its way to us?
Well, you just described one.
That's right. And you stated it very well, that you opened yourself up. Go ahead, Madeline.
Yeah, you whenever you're worried about not having enough money, you are pushing money away. So anytime you're in fear about anything, you're basically attracting whatever you're afraid of to you. That's a very strong emotion, fear is. So when you're in the opposite situation where you trust that the universe is going to bring to you whatever it is you're in want of or need of, that you are in a much more relaxed energy. a much higher energy, and so it's easy for the money to come to you.
And one thing we'd recommend is in chapter 2 of the book, I do provide a service, an emotional freedom and healing release. So it's to release blockages to attracting money.
Yes.
So if you have, the paper copy of the book, just type that into your browser. If you have the electronic version, you just click it and it'll take you right to a 45-minute recording on the web on our Money is an Energy Game website. That's only available to people who have the book. And it will walk you through tapping away your money fears. And I would recommend that you do that as many times as you feel is helpful. As you're feeling money blocks or, just remnants of fear, do this release, because that will really help. It really takes you deep.
And it takes
Can you elaborate on what that
days.
is?
Sure. Have you heard of EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique?
I have, but for our audience, let's introduce them.
Okay, so so this is emotional freedom and healing. So it's a acupressure modality, which means you're tapping various points. So you might tap your wrist, you might tap like there's a position of anger, you might tap between your eyebrows, under your eye, between your nose and your lip. So there's about 13 different points you tap, and I guide you through release statements about common fears that we have. And many of the common fears are, I don't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worthy of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, afraid to have it. I'm afraid I might lose it. If I have it, or if I have a lot of money, I might lose it. Somebody might come and take it. I might, it might just dissolve. The stock market might drop, those sorts of things. But the position that you stated at the beginning is you are taking a leap of faith. That is awesome. That is upward motion. That is like upward mobility, and the funnel is going up. So you're attracting energy on that level. But to the extent that you are feeling also fear about it, that's what you want to let go of. We also put in the book what we call a sacred prosperity contract. So you can do an exercise of writing down your intentions of what it is you want to attract. And the writing process is so powerful. I have always found, long before I went into energy work, that the process of writing actually imprints my intention, whatever I'm writing, into my brain. Once I write it down, I really have to go back to it again. And so we really recommend doing some journaling, or definitely writing a contract for yourself, a prosperity agreement with yourself. So start off there, and then do the release. And then you might pay attention to your language. And I think you've been very good as we've been chatting, because you've been choosing words that are very uplifting. Very
Today's a good day. Today's a good day in my relationship with this move. Give me 5 minutes and the terror will take over, and I'll be right back there.
Okay, so let that go. You might replace it with it's getting easier. I'm getting more comfortable with this idea. I'm growing into it.
Yeah, I'm more confident that it will work.
Yeah. On the fear part of it, I sort of wrestle with some of the Stoic teachings that I've read, and they talk about, sort of preparing for the worst and being ready for when you take that big leap. What if you do land on your face? So I always wrestle with, when those thoughts are in my head, should I take them as an opportunity to rehearse and prepare for what if things go wrong, or should I try and sort of let those go and focus more on this is all going to work just magically?
To the extent that you focus on preparing for the worst, you're creating it. You see, so
yeah, for sure.
So, and to answer your question earlier about what are some of the things that people do to push money away, there are a number of things that happen. People get angry at other people, even on social media. They get into stress. They get upset about something. They get into road rage. They get themselves into situations where they're pretty much stressed all the time. They're having conversations with other people that are stressful, you see, or they're not getting enough sleep, or they're eating poorly, or they're not getting exercise, you see. So or they're choosing stories. They're focusing on telling stories that are negative stories. Oh, woe is me, look what happened to me. And as they're telling that story, they're telling the universe, send me more of these experiences, right? And so it pays you a lot of money and good feelings to pay attention to what you tell other people and what you think about.
And you're moving at a good time. And July has some really awesome energy in it. So, some good days that are there. Madeline can speak to that a little bit, how things are shifting.
Yeah.
But also focus on it opening up. You said you have a year to get going. So get a running start, running start with a new story about how it's going to work. And you're laying the groundwork and really reinforce that and take positive, inspired action along the way. End your stories with, on an upbeat note. So that might be one thing.
Every day.
it's getting easier every day, and it has to be believable. So you don't have to tell these stories that leave you feeling like, oh, that'll never happen. They said to say this, but that'll never happen, because that energy in your cells will push it away. Right. See, everything has to be in alignment. So you also want to get your heart energy around this. So, and it's probably already there. Your heart energy is already there. So it's align up your feelings with that. And there are, theories out there that our heart energy drives what's really in our brain. So really do some meditations daily or daily meditation and envision this happening. Madeline, why don't you talk about workshopping? That's a great method.
Well, first, just let me mention about timing. The best days of the month are July 13th and 14th.
The movers come the 14th. So there you go.
There you go. And I'm sure you're going to do it that day. You're very close to me. You're only about 50 miles away from me.
Where are you?
I'm in Arlington.
Oh, man, we'll drive right by. We'll wave as we pass.
Yeah, wave as you drive by. Yeah. And now on workshopping, this is my favorite tool. We use it all the time for anything and everything. You can even create safety with it, money. I mean, thousands of dollars. It doesn't matter. Customers, it doesn't matter what it is. Health, it works with health, whatever. So basically, this is something that Abraham via Esther Hicks provided. And you want to first get yourself in good energy. So high energy, something joyful, some experience that really made you feel good. Think about that and get in that energy. And then when you're in that energy, start thanking the universe for having already provided whatever it is you want. At that point, you want to be sure you use those words for having already provided. Because if you don't, if you're asking for something, you're expecting it to arrive in the future, but you are never going to arrive in the future. You're always in the present moment. So you want to have it arrive in the present moment. And that's why you want to say for having already provided, because then it's already here in the present moment. And then put in all your details about what it is that you're wanting. So the universe gets a clear idea of what it is you want. Now, you don't want to tell the universe how to give it to you, because it may have a much better idea of how to get it to you. But so you're giving it the end result of what it is that you want. And then when you're done with that, and you need to do it for a minimum of 17 seconds each time you do it in order to combust the energy to the next higher level. And then a minimum of 68 seconds per day. So if you did it for only 17 seconds, you'd want to do that 4 times a day. And that's easy to do when you're sitting at a stoplight, doing the dishes, making your bed, whatever. All kinds of ways you can do it. Then the big question usually is that people kind of fall into a negative pattern of not trusting the universe and thinking, oh, that'll never happen. Well, that is the big problem right there, because you're always creating to your last thought. So when you are in that mode of, oh, that'll never happen, or this is too easy, or whatever, you want to clear that right out loud. And then just substitute a positive thought. Of course, the universe wants me to have X, whatever X is. And then stick with that energy, stick with that thought, because the universe does want you to have it as long as you're not pushing it away. It can only deliver to you whatever you trust and believe it can deliver. If you don't believe it can deliver something to you, it can't deliver it.
Every turn of this journey that we've been on, I feel like the universe is just like taking a lunchbox and hitting me over the head with, of course, yes, keep wanting, keep going. Because every time I push or go, oh, this doesn't seem right, everything gets cloudy and harder and difficult. And when I just go, let's just take a step, all of a sudden, huge opportunities fall in our lap to make it easier. And I'm like, how, on what world could I possibly believe that this is not a thing when at every turn, it's like I'm just being pulled north. It's amazing.
So keep that momentum going. And I would recommend doing a vision board. Vision boards really work. So you can just have a physical representation of what it is that you really want. I like to set up mine according to the Feng Shui Bagua, so the grid of 9 areas, so that it covers all areas of my life. But you can do it any way you want. So put in representations of your podcast, put in maybe the house you're going to live with in, or, whatever it is.
The country, the new country.
Yeah, moving to Canada.
Put in your family members.
Yeah, whatever you want to keep drawing to yourself or in more of. Put in representations of prosperity, money.
Money.
You want to attract the money to keep your business going.
Lots and lots of money, please.
To grow your business. Absolutely.
This has been a lot about me. That wasn't my intention. I know there are a lot of people that are going through some kind of a change. All the studies showing people are leaving their jobs or want to leave their jobs because of all the lessons we've learned in the last year. You guys have just a fountain of information here. If somebody, aside from picking up the book, obviously, somebody wants to take a big leap, make a big change, do something, walk us through just like 1 or 2 simple things, places to start opening up to the opportunity that they're looking for to take that next step in their life.
Well, the intention part is very important. So starting with the intention and then doing a release, like the release that Peg does with the emotional freedom and healing, so that you're releasing the fears out of your body. It's not just mental, it's that they're physically in your body from the emotions that are attached to them. And Bruce Lipton is the one who translated how that all worked, right? So you want to release that, because otherwise you're unwittingly pushing away whatever you're trying to create. And so you want to release fears about not having it, and then move forward, such as understanding the science behind how manifestation works, and then focusing on some tools. Now, Peg and I have over 100 tools and techniques in the book to help you move forward in whatever direction you want to go. And it's really designed for people who want to move into doing their life's work, their life's purpose.
Right.
And being able to trust and know that the universe will support it.
A big one is language and the words we use and the stories we tell. So let go of all the stories about it not working. Let go of all the stories about, oh, I'm worried. I don't know if this is really going to work or if it's really the right thing. You've had evidence that it is the right thing. So let that, carry you forward and just, put all your energy behind that. You also have, you said, about a year to make it work. So go and, put together some solid plans, do a 30-day plan, a 90-day plan, 180-day plan. So do your plans with some concrete milestones in there as well, and then make some adjustments along the way. So it's you're trusting the universe, but you're also taking practical steps. And that's what we all have to do with all of this. It's not about just thinking and wishing and hoping it would happen. It is trusting and believing and knowing, but it's changing our habits, and it's releasing the energy that is a hold. It's releasing the grip that fear has on us, the fear of change, the fear of it might not work. You know what? It might not work, but if it doesn't work. Okay, and what I was going to say, but if it doesn't work, something else will take its place.
Right.
So there's a prayer of leading. Something better. Yeah, so there's a prayer of leading, and it goes, if this is for me, expand it. If not, take it away.
And the other thing I would say the other thing I would say is use good timing, because this is a
Yes.
missing piece that is really important for anyone in business who wants to have their own business. So there are days like today when you could make more money. And there are other days when you can't make a dime. So you don't want to put out your promotions on a day when nothing will come of it. You want to put them out on good days when people will see it and take action and support that promotion. And you can do that with my good timing guide. Now, so I put this out every year. I've been putting it out since 1997.
I love that.
And it's color coded, so you don't need to know any astrology. It'll tell you the final result of any new start. It'll tell you if it's a good day for taking action, a good day for negotiations, a good day for communications or travel or making money. So you can just look. It's just color coded. It's easy. And if it's
That's incredible.
Yeah, if it's a timeout, you're gonna say, I think I'll wait till a better time. And then
I gotta check that out. I gotta check that out. That's great.
Yeah, and then I write a newsletter so that people can understand what the energies are that they're looking at the color codes for in the guide. So that gives you a lot more information about how to work with the energies. I mean, if we all just knew what time it was and we were in alignment with that, our results would be much, much better. And just as an example of timeouts, I'll give you two quick ones. One guy had a small business and he wanted to run a promotion. He spent $1,500 making up this promotion. Now, this is about 15 years ago, so maybe it went a little further. And he unfortunately chose a day when it was an all-day timeout for his big sale. And no one showed up. Not one customer came. On the other hand, this is another timeout story. Boeing Computer once had their computers fail miserably. So bad they could not even figure out where to start unraveling it. And two of the guys there had my good timing guide. And they said to each other, we're in a timeout. Let's just wait. This timeout's going to be over in about an hour and 15 minutes. Let's just wait and see what happens. And at the end of the timeout, the computer fixed itself.
Oh, get out of here.
So there you go. And they were like, wow, aren't we glad we didn't try and unravel that?
Right.
That's
and,
wild.
and one thing with the good timing guide is just pay attention to the patterns. Just, take action during good times, but sometimes you'll be taking action when it's not the most favorable day. Just note the patterns. And that's what we talk about in Feng Shui all the time too. Yeah. Just note the patterns and make adjustments as you go forward, because it's all learning. We're learning as we go.
Well, you guys are way too much fun. You're way too much fun. Where do we learn more about you guys, your work and your book, so that we can get that information out to our listeners?
Moneyisanenergygame.com.
Couldn't be easier than that, could it?
Yeah, moneyisanenergygame.com. And both of our bios are there, and our regular websites are there as well on our bios.
Perfect. Well, we'll have links to that on our website as well. Thank you both so much for your time and for this therapy session. It's really helping me a lot.
You're welcome. We wish you all the best with it.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
That was my conversation with Madeline Gerwick and Peg Donahue, authors of Money is an Energy Game. And I have a follow-up to that conversation. Literally that day that I talked to them, I learned that in the process of trying to move, one of the places where I was going to be staying in the meantime turned out to be a huge scam. And at this moment, I've lost a lot of money that I don't know if I'm going to get back, but I've been following their advice ever since. And at every stoplight and every down moment, I'm thanking the universe for giving me my money back, for bringing it into my life in one way or another, for making this right. I am accepting that it's already happened. Now, my bank account disagrees, but One way or another, I have accepted that money it's just mine to spend. I have it. It's coming back, and that the universe will set this right. So I will update you on this journey on whether or not the universe does in fact provide for me in the way that it so generously has for you, Zach.
Right. I truly hope that you get it back. I just want to say, kudos for, that they talked about the mindset, right, of not being fearful and just opening yourself up to this. And kudos for doing that. And it's not just about money, right? I mean, it's about all things that we do and all risks that we take and living our life. And I think this is a really good opportunity for you to really be able to reprogram some of that internal thinking to this is not a problem, this is an opportunity for me to go forward. And it like I said, it's not just money, it's life in general. If you have this attitude about everything, you will get further along than most other people. So I really liked what they had to say. I really liked that it was about money because I really like money. But this is, it expands into so many other things.
And on the idea that that money is an energy game, like so much of all of this is an energy game. And I was reminded of that, going back to this scam, the day I learned about it, I applied everything that I just talked to them about. That just accept that it's coming, that you already have it. The universe is going to provide. You're fine. The money's there. Don't worry about it. That whole day, I was like, it's just money. Plenty more. I can make money out of nothing. This is going to be great. While everyone around me was like, oh God, that's bullshit. I can't believe somebody did that to you. What horrible monsters. Are you going to be okay? That's awful. My wife was really upset. And I don't fault anyone for that, because that is a normal response. That is what we are taught. That's how we're taught to respond to this kind of a thing.
Exactly.
And that whole day I was like, I'm good. Let's watch a movie. Let's have a good time. I'm going to be awesome. But I woke up the next day and every emotional energy bar I had was just on zero, because it took everything I had to maintain that positive attitude. And, the next day I was very down. I still mentally tried to stay positive about what was going to happen, but physically I could just feel it took everything I had to not follow the usual pathway of this is depressing. I got scammed again, or this terrible thing happened to me. I deserve this kind of thing because I'm not a smart person. Like all that stuff that I would normally do, it took everything I had to silence that and just stay super positive. So it very much is an energy game in more ways than one.
Yeah. I just want to, I've heard the full story, and there's not a 0 chance that you'll get your money back. It's very
close. It's like 1%.
It's very close to 0% that you will get your money back from this. So I am interested to continue listening to what happens, and Jeremy, if you're comfortable with it, we will definitely share it on future shows, and
absolutely
we'll let you know if the positive mindset delivers. Yeah.
And speaking of sharing on future shows, we are in the thick of the move to Canada. So you're going to have to, again, forgive my indulgence, as so much of my life is wrapped up in this. Several of our upcoming interviews are about taking a leap, taking a chance, doing big things. And partially it's for me. It just feels good to have the validation that what I'm doing is not crazy, but I'm hoping to inspire other people that from this last year have learned there's more out there for me and I want to go get it. And so I'm hoping to lead by example and inspire others to chase those dreams and to go after the things that they really want out of their life.
Oh God, can you please stop talking about this already? Just kidding. Just kidding.
Enough of me, enough of us. I think we're done. We got to get out of here.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
I support you. What are you doing?
Thank
You're
you.
Crazy.
You're
You're
one.
Crazy.
All right. That's going to do it for this week before Zach talks me out of all of this. Thank you so much for listening and subscribing on whatever podcast player you're using and signing up for the newsletter. All of that information is available at our website, thefitmess.com. And we will be back on Wednesday with a brand new episode at thefitmess.com.
See everyone.
We know this podcast is amazing and doesn't seem to lack anything, but we need a legal disclaimer. Prior to implementing anything discussed in this podcast, it is your responsibility to conduct your own research and consult your physician. You should assume that Jeremy and Zach don't know what they're talking about, and they're not liable for any physical or emotional issues that occur directly or indirectly from listening to this podcast.